the Economic Partnership Agreement. And we're told that, well, very soon, almost from now, a majority of goods and services from Europe will now be imported into the country without paying the necessary duties and taxes on them, based on whatever agreements we have with the EU on the EPA. And this follows Ghana's decision to sign the EPA. But there are some worries by some businesses, because they feel that, well, if we're now going to allow a lot more from Europe, based on quotas that we've already agreed on in the EPA, it means that they'll be competing already with products here that are not doing too well. Our products are suffering because the packages are bad, the quality is also not as good as you find in Europe, etc.
I remember that Gordon Brown once said that the survival of Europe depends on Africa. And I don't know whether that is what the EU has actually taken advantage of. I don't actually know the details of the agreement. But I know that our other race, the other race, are very smart in capitalizing on the race that we belong to. The race that we belong to, we are very slow to appreciate what we can do. That is always what I have believed in, that if we should believe in ourselves and make sure that, yes, we can do what we say we can do and what God has actually ordained us to be able to do with the resources that He has actually blessed us. I was watching a program yesterday, a clip of something, I think it was in the news, and part of the northern region, a professor and a lady doctor were talking about the vast land, the stuff that is going waste. And, you know, we have so much. And I don't know. Let's hope that this is going to benefit us. I wouldn't say much to it because I don't have the details of the agreement. But one thing that I know is that any leader, any government would always act in the best interest of its people. So I believe that this is an action that the region has actually taken in the best interest of Ghana and the sub-region.
A normal circumstance, for all the things we've already had, free trade agreements with the WTO and all, and if you take a detailed reading of whatever concerns have been raised, whether it's by Third World Network and the other NGOs around the world, especially advocating for all these in the African region, you get to know that, well, for the local economy, you are told you get 100% entry. But at the end of the day, your goods can't compete.
Standards.
You can't meet the standards, the quality standards, etc.
Yes.
So you're crowded out.
Yes. We've
so the beneficiaries will only be Europe.
Yes. As a party or as an individual, I've never really believed in this EPA agreement. I believe that local industries.
That's the economic partnership agreement.
Yeah, the economic partnership agreement. I have not had any faith in it. I believe that our industries are going to suffer. The local industries are going to suffer because you see, already we don't even manufacture enough, and when you look in our markets, we're importing almost everything.
And it's frightening.
And it's frightening. And we're having real shoddy goods on our markets.
I don't get you.
Oh, look.
Goods from China.
Goods from China, goods from Turkey. They like them. You see, what happens is that when your purchasing power is not that strong.
We live in a consumable market.
Yes,
consumers
but
who have
your
choices.
purchasing power is not good enough. It's not much. You can go and buy something. You think you're buying cheap, but you're buying something that is not going to help you.
You mean inferior?
It's inferior. A lot of the things that we buy is inferior quality. Today, when you buy a box of matches and you open up, you find that half of it doesn't have a tip. You understand what I'm saying?
That's
but
right.
we had Kede Match Factory, which if it was well looked after, we could have provided match. Yes, good quality matches for this country. Today,
Kwame Nkrumah has passed.
No, we're not talking of Kwame Nkrumah. All of us are Kwame Nkrumahs, if we want to be. Because all of us believe in Ghana. All of us want Ghana to move.
Believe in the African.
And we believe in the African. We
want
want everything to move, and we believe that we can do things ourselves. We all have the can-do spirit. But what I'm saying is that EPA is coming, and you are asking us to compete with a country that when you go, the specifications that they demand is so high that we will not be able to make it. We have a standards authority that cannot even manage the little that is in this country. You know how many drugs come in here that are fake? We cry over fake drugs. And now you're going to open up the floodgates for everybody to bring in anything.
From Europe.
From Europe.
Europe, they don't do fake things.
And it's not that they don't do fake things, but they have eyes looking out for them. We don't. Our eyes are almost half shut. You understand? All I'm saying is we should have built a strong manufacturing base. We should have started off our industrialization and then invited them in. But look, let me tell you, Roland, you know Gary, ordinary Gary that we used to export. Now we don't even export much Gary anymore because you know the Asian community, the Indians are growing it in South America and doing better Gary and bringing it on board. So where are the Gary people going to send their Gary if Indians are getting it from Mexico, from Brazil, from God knows, ordinary Gary? Now we have the greenhouse effect. They are now growing. We used to send them vegetables. They are now growing all those tropical vegetables abroad. So at the end of the day, what are we going to send out there? There is a problem that we are not looking at. And it's going to be just like the energy. After a while, we will find that everybody's going to close up and start importing. Because that's going to be cheaper. Already that's what's happening. That's going to be cheaper. We're going to get bread coming from England. Oh, yes, because we have bottled water is coming from wherever. You understand? We're going to get it.
It's competition, isn't it?
It's not a question of competition. You build your economy before you start looking for competition. If you listen to, look, if you read through people who have made it, the Malaysians, the Singaporeans, they closed up and built their society.
But we have to put all these into perspective. The point is that if the West African sub-region, the ECOWAS region, hadn't agreed to initial the EPA, because we had initialed the EPA light, and if we hadn't initialed it by October last year, we would have forfeited a lot of things. As
like
far as
what?
we're concerned, there are details that are all in there in terms of funding and getting access.
That's true.
And all that. So at the end of the, by the close of a decade, our economies, well, reservedly based on what has been written about the EPA, would have shrunk in many respects. Now, at what point do we have to say that Europe is a major trading partner, or we feel that we also need to build that relationship with Europe? And so based on what they are saying, they want an EPA with that, where they'll give us 100% open access to their markets, but they also give us we also give them open access to their markets, where our industries are not developed enough, where the outputs of those industries can't compete with the output of those industries in Europe. So,
well, basically, you look at the whole thing, and I believe that we are at a disadvantage anyway.
A total disadvantage.
That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. We are at a disadvantage.
You see, I keep saying it. They are smarter. Yeah. In fact, I saw this thing coming because I actually looked into the eyes of Gordon Brown when he said that.
On TV or live?
Well, live. I was, yeah.
You were in the hall?
It was something that happened, and some of us happened to be there. And yes, he clearly said that the future of Europe depends on Africa. And then I realized that, these guys will have another form of colonization. And which they are doing. I want us to believe in ourselves. I want us to sort of like have some form of paradigm shift. I want us to sort of like go on and follow the kind of passion that the current President Mahama, is telling us to put into us patronizing homemade stuff and see how best we can actually move the economy forward. But with that, I'm yet to see the one who convinced me that we are not at a disadvantage.
Now, currently, we have China also making inroads in Africa.
Yes.
And it's all because of the power play and how Africa is at a disposition where it has the resources and the raw material to always feed other continents or other power blocks. If you take the current scenario at which we are at a disadvantage, how do we then develop our industries vis-a-vis the current environment?
That's the biggest question, and that is why I'm saying that we are totally at a disadvantage.
No, we understand that. So how then do we develop our industry vis-a-vis allowing entry of a larger percentage of goods and services from Europe?
No, I think we should also be able to negotiate.
Because, for example, when I get Kellogg cornflakes,
No,
I would rather buy Kellogg's than...
We should have transfer of expertise, you know, transfer of technology. Why don't you come? They should start manufacturing from here. We don't have to bring the finished products. We should negotiate to suit us. You understand? Look, today we are importing timber. Why? We virtually sold off everything as raw material to other places. And now we are buying all manner of furniture. If you really want good quality furniture, you need to import timber. That's how come people are building with bamboo. You know, like they now use bamboos, they now use roofing sheets. We can't even have wood anymore. And we are opening out the gates and telling them, you can come, bring in all the rubbish that you want to bring. And unfortunately for us, we've got this taste for foreign goods. And our president is saying that we should now do what? Buy made in Ghana, eat made in Ghana. Where is it? We need to go back to the soil. We need to make agriculture lift this country. If we can put the same passion that he's putting in trying to generate energy into agriculture, we will be able to then export more. We will be able to feed our people for less. And people will have enough money to be able to afford the things that are going to come in. And then we'll have very good competition. But not when we cannot afford food on the market, when things are so difficult that you end up buying something that you feel is good only to get home and find out it's not good. That becomes more expensive. Because if you take in fake drugs, you're actually looking for worse disease. You understand what I'm saying? So we should go back to the soil.
Okay, so we need systems in place. We need to do simultaneous improvements of various sectors.
Yes, of various sectors
in our market.
But the major thing is that this is a country that will strive on agriculture.
Okay, you haven't stayed in Europe for some time. Do you think that really, realistically, we can get to even 75% of the quality of goods that are produced in Europe?
We can.
If we can. Do you think we can if we put in the needed resources?
Yes, we can even do better than
do better.
Far. We can easily do far better.
How's that possible? Because they do all the inventions. Chris Asafo has been doing inventions for the last 10, 20 years.
Support him. Encourage him. Put in something.
Well, the attitude is we don't. So that's why I'm asking, is it possible?
Mitsubishi.
Mitsu.
Yeah, Mitsubishi
Japanese.
was just, yes. I mean, it started like Chris Asafo, the guy with the, yes. Same thing with
even Tata.
Yeah, same thing with an individual. And then government went in, you know, supported him. And that is Mitsubishi. And Mitsubishi is helping the economy of Japan. You understand? But, I mean, we will look at it and we will not even encourage him. We will be saying that, we prefer the Japanese, Toyota and stuff like that to what this person is producing. Somebody would even go to get his or her Mitsubishi instead of, you know, patronizing. So it is all, yes, it is all about when these things happen, we should find a way in encouraging these people, not just encouraging them by patting them on their backs, but actually putting some money and making sure that it becomes a national kind of thing. And then before you could say Jack, Ghana is producing a particular kind of brand of vehicle.
The last week I was reading a book by Jeffrey Sachs, Price of Civilization, and he was talking about how in the 60s to 70s, the Indian government had invited IBM to India, gave them the free zone, based on the free zone concept, gave them everything tax-free, but then said the human resource base should be Indians. And for after 3 decades, the best IT human resource in the world
is from India.
It's from India.
That's it.
They have taxation quotas on imported vehicles that you have no choice as a manufacturer in Europe than to come and put the plants in India and manufacture, because you can't buy any car that will be less expensive outside India than in India. What can we do that?
We can.
How? We can't.
It's the political will. You see, when we
within the current context of the geopolitical atmosphere we have in the world. Our dependence.
Yes, we are independent, but at the same time,
our dependence, but for
we
budgetary
are independent,
support,
but we are interdependent. But you have to look at that interdependency up to a certain level. You can't just say that, hey, I must sell my birthright because you are more in certain terms than I am. You can also have a system where you would research more into where you would want to get to, you would like to get to as a country, yeah, in the next 10, 15 years, and make sure that you put certain things in place. Because at the end of the day, it's a give and take kind of thing. And it will depend on the will that you have, and that will determine how much you want to bargain for. And I believe that Africa has a whole lot of resources. We are so blessed that
that's the mantra.
The sort of
but we
power.
That has not manifested.
Look, we have that bargaining power. Obviously, if you don't eat, you don't grow. So whatever is there for them as industries, they don't get the raw materials, they're not going to function. And they have realized that the raw materials are in Africa.
Have always been in Africa.
You understand? So at the
being
end of the
exploited
day,
for hundreds of years, but still, there are a lot more is still available.
Yeah, but Roland, I think that we must.
What should be the thinking?
We must also take technical education seriously. We must. As a country.
By the look of things, it doesn't look like we are.
We are not. We have to take technical education seriously. Because you see, technology now is moving so fast ahead of us that if we're going to even open out your country and they come, we don't even have the personnel to work. We don't. We are not literate enough when it comes to technology, honestly. And we have young people walking our streets, young people prostituting in places, and we cannot harness these young brains to at least to manufacture little things. And we still think that we have a youth policy in this country. We still believe that we're getting on as a country with welfareism. It doesn't work. Times have changed. Socialism, yes. Welfareism, to some extent, you must curb it. We must try to make our people work. And technology is fast approaching. We must go technical. That's the whole thing. So I will urge that instead of us building all these schools into seniors, high schools, we must
even the technical polytechnics are now being turned into universities.
Can you believe that?
With degrees.
With degrees for them to sit in offices.
A technical degree.
Can you imagine?
Those who come from the leading science university we have in our country don't have only see sample engines.
That's it.
They don't work on the engines.
They don't work on nothing. They can't repair their. You have an electrical engineer who comes out of the university and cannot repair his own iron.
It is not the number.
So we need a paradigm shift from the way we educate our children.
Yeah.
We really do.
I agree. You see, it is not the number of universities that you have, because I also believe in technology and these vocational kind of institutions. Because when you go out there, they are there specifically
for that.
And then those people come out with their HNDs and that sort of thing, and they go into specific kind of areas like the plumbing sector, the construction sector, and that sort of thing. If you look at Ghana, for example, I think we have how many? So many, about 70 or 80 university colleges.
Yeah.
And I think some of these university colleges have been around for over 20 years. So why is it that they are still colleges and not full-fledged universities?
Support.
It's not necessarily the support. Do they still not even making the effort to meet the criteria that will give them the accreditation to become full-fledged universities?
Well, I guess sometimes it's difficult for some of them. It's not that easy to get accreditation in this country.
Well, if it's difficult for some of them, why?
It's all about meeting standards.
No, why are they still popping up? Are the KNUSTs, the UCCs, and the University of Ghana also trying to make money out of these people who just want to run certain courses for them? You see, you see the whole thing.
You're an educationist, right?
Yeah, the whole thing.
You're an educationist.
Yes, the whole thing. I mean, you have to look at it carefully. It's a joke. To be very honest with you,
it's just a money-making.
It's
a money-making kind of thing.
That's a serious allegation.
No, it's not an allegation. It's an observation.
Okay.
You understand?
Sorry,
it's an observation because you ask yourself, for all these years, why do we have so many university colleges, and still others are popping up? Why has it taken somebody all these years still not meeting the criteria to become a full-fledged university and still existing? Don't we have timelines?
Give me 5 minutes. Let's discuss something.
Have you ever employed somebody who went to, let's say, give me some of these universities, and they come out with first class, and they can't work?
They can't work, yes.
Have you
You
ever
mean
employed any?
from those accredited ones? They are accredited, but they don't.
Oh,
they can't
yeah.
work.
Oh, I don't buy that, because some of the accredited ones do very well.
No, I'm not saying. I said some.
It says
I said
some.
some.
Yeah, but
yes.
it's the same with the national ones. You understand? It's the same.
From the mainstream.
From the main. It's the whole educational system is terrible. It's, in fact, sometimes you might even get better material from the accredited ones because they are smaller classes as compared to some people. Look,
Where
some people,
Ashesi?
well, you can get some. If you go to Ashesi, you get
But
good
shouldn't go to
ones.
Ashesi?